welcome to this episode of the Lehigh Valley with Love podcast. I'm your host, George Wacker, and I'm here with my musical co-host, Phil Reese. We recorded this episode on location at Godfrey Daniels in South Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Godfrey Daniels, if you're not familiar, was established in 1976 and is one of the last true remaining listening rooms in the country. A listening room is loosely defined as a musical venue where the emphasis is placed on intently listening to the artist, as well as a space for that artist to discuss their music in depth. We talk with two fantastic musicians and artists, Miriam Clancy and Rachael Sage, prior to their recent show. We talk with the New Zealand-born Miriam Clancy about moving to and loving Pennsylvania so much, she actually wrote a song about it. We ask her what keeps her inspired, and how she feels about being one of the many in a long line of fantastic Kiwi singer-songwriters. And we speak with New York City-based Rachael Sage, an American singer-songwriter and visual artist, former ballet dancer, poet, and she wears many more hats, about her time during the pandemic and her excitement to play again in person. We're also treated to a song from each artist, including a debut from Miriam Clancy, and the first time Rachael Sage has played with her new collaborator, Kevin from Philadelphia. Big thank you to our sponsors, new sponsor, made possible in Lehigh Valley. The Lehigh Valley is rich with possibilities, a proud heritage, a bright future that has long attracted makers, innovators, and those with great vision. Everything you need to create the life you want on your terms. Vibrant downtowns, charming main streets with surprises around every corner, and lots of open spaces to explore. Live, work, learn, play, discover all that's made possible in the Lehigh Valley at lehighvalleymadepossible.com. A big thank you to ArtsQuest. Go to artsquest.org to be sure you find out everything that's going on with them this summer. Of course, our friends at Molly's Irish Grill and Sports Pub, mollysbethlehem.com, and Michael Bernadyn with Remax Realty. Find Mike, and you'll find your next home. Without further ado, Miriam Clancy and Rachael Sage on location at Godfrey Daniels. Thank you guys so much again for taking the time out before your performances tonight on stage at Godfrey Daniels to spend some time to talk with us about what you're doing, what you have been doing, and what's coming up in the future. We have Rachael and Miriam and Kevin as well.
Other way around.
Oh, I'm swap. Miriam, Rachael.
Miriam and Rachael and Kevin, and I got it correct this time as we went through.
Rachael, Kevin.
All the biblical ladies
for tonight.
And of course, our co-host Phil, who's our musical co-host and musical connoisseur for all Lehigh Valley would love musical podcast.
I hope I don't disappoint.
Au contraire.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start it out with just that fact that we are here, and you guys are touring again. And how does it feel to be out of each? Everyone kind of went through COVID in their own way, but how does it feel to be able to perform again and be somewhat back to normal, whatever that is?
I'm going to just
You
dive
take it
right
away.
in.
Yeah, go, Rachael.
I think it feels like everything, It feels simultaneously exciting and also a little scary, a little overwhelming, but, ultimately I feel like a responsibility to try to just cheerlead everybody back to life.
We can do it. We can do it.
Yeah, so I'm excited.
That's
I'm sure
good.
there's that missing component when you're doing like a virtual show over those last 2 years where it's like you finish a song and there's not the applause afterwards. You almost have to just imagine it.
Oh, that was hard. Did you do much of that, like online?
I did a lot of live streaming. How about yourself?
Oh, a tiny bit, but I gotta say it was a buzzkill.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of couldn't do it very well, just because I think I need people to, give back what you're giving.
Feed off the energy.
Yeah, and it's like you need to know where the ship is sailing. It's very hard when you're looking at a screen going, am I looking okay?
Right.
How do I look? It's like, oh no.
Yeah.
So it's great to be back in a room with people and just to be able to lock eyes.
Yeah.
And did it affect any of your songwriting in any way differently, or is your songwriting always changing no matter kind of what the situation you're in?
Kevin and I were both doing a lot of live streaming, right? So I feel like we both really embraced that in different ways. I know I did a lot of piano improv, and I had almost never done that live with an audience before. I just did it in the privacy of my own home, and then it would sometimes spawn songs. But Kevin, maybe...
Yeah, I actually... I used the pandemic as like a breathing space.
Mm-hmm.
Just being like 20 years of solid playing my own tunes and backing up other wonderful artists. And I thought, I'm going to have all this time. I'm going to write songs. I'm going to create so much.
Like a double record?
Right. Yeah. I love just like kind of breathing
Double
for the first time.
Yeah.
Personally, yeah.
Yep. But you did some pretty wild improv live streams, and that's how we
to tag
how I
on what
discovered
you just said. Yeah, I started doing some just the opposite of writing. Just again, like you said, just let it flow, and what happens happens, which is nice.
Yeah.
Not to even talk about, but we kind of went through that same thing of just you're able to talk to people, and it brought us to even in this situation now. So it's
Yeah.
maybe not the way that you would have liked it to have gone.
It's weird, yeah. It's like
But-
this crazy dog's leg of a turn. I think everyone's been so traumatized by what's happened. It's either created some urgency, or you're just slipping into a depression and just coming out of it. It's like, oh my God, we're alive. Are you okay? You okay? And we're all kind of meeting in the middle, going, well, it's going to be all right. And
That's kind of what every one of my live streams was. It was a little bit of sort of live chat in the Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah, I would come on and I would just
doing?
kind of chill for a little bit, let people start, pressing their little hearts, and I'd feel so like, less alone. And then I'd be like, oh, it was sort of like, Wonderama, like, and Stacy's here from England, and,
nice to
Phineas
see
is
you.
here
Yeah.
from Ireland. Oh my God,
Yay.
you guys all look great, and I'm just
Right.
seeing like the little hearts.
oh, man.
Yeah, it got me through for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you get used to, like, it took a long time to get used to it. And then now it's hard to get unused to it. Like, even today, I parked the car and I got out and I was like, wait, do I even have a mask? And then I was like, well, wait, we kind of did away with
What's
a lot
that?
of those
Yeah.
mandates. But you still should wear one. So anyway, it's like this weird thing where it's like, it felt like it was awkward at the time, and now it feels awkward to not do it too. Like, it's a very...
I'll take the second awkward though.
Sure.
We adapted. We just got used to it. And now hopefully things are getting better.
Yeah, we're gonna
Yeah.
have an amazing live audience tonight.
Yes. Have either of you played here before?
Never.
I have a couple times.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've even walked
So you
in
can
the
give
room.
her
I'm like,
tips.
it's so cool. I love it.
It's
This
very,
is
very,
really
I mean, the acoustics
special.
are great, and then the intimacy is great. Like,
Yeah.
you'll have people 5 feet away. And so
Yeah.
it's just really neat when you were talking about feeding off energy and looking in the eyeballs. This is a great place for that, because it's also they're very proud to be a listening room.
Yes.
So they're very much a place that people come who appreciate and want to listen to music.
License,
So the
as we
audience
say,
will-
to spiel.
Yeah.
We can just
Still,
tell our stories, and we're not taking up anybody's time. I feel like they come for that,
Yeah.
as well as the music.
Yeah.
So-
And
looking forward to it.
have you done a few shows prior to this? How is that? And was it awkward at first when you're kind of like, hey, you were just saying how you've been live streaming and seeing people virtually, and then someone's right in front of you. Obviously, you're an accomplished performer, but were there any times there that you're like, whoa, it's a little weird to be back up here?
Only in a good way.
Okay.
I did a short tour with Howard Jones a few weeks ago, and he was acoustic, so that was comforting because I wouldn't have wanted to go out there and be suddenly opening for someone with all kinds of electronics and really amplified to the max. That would have made me feel a little bit like overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Because in some ways I feel like we've all gotten to be a little more introverted, introspective, intimate, and to suddenly go from like live streaming to, like you're playing for an amphitheater would be a lot. But he was so intimate and kind of chatty and casual. And my violinist and I were definitely on that wavelength. So we eased in, and by the second or third gig, we were like, okay, back in the saddle. This is
Right,
It
fun.
took nothing.
One thing that has helped is actually cueing into the lighting, and we don't have to worry about it here because it's so small, but like being able to see that front row or those first few rows and make eye contact
Yeah.
for me is really important, because when you're just looking out into solid blackness, it's a little freaky.
It's like the virtual show, but in person, which is probably harder. Like, I know you're out
Exactly,
there.
that's a good point, yeah.
Knowing they're actually there, but you
Yeah.
still can't
Right?
see
I can
them.
hear you breathing. Yeah, you're out there.
And then please applaud when I finish the song.
Just be
No hard-
kind.
no hard feelings.
Yeah, rating 2.5.
You just talked about some of your tour, but you've toured with or had connections with some amazing artists like Ani DeFranco and Sean Colvin.
Miriam, as of tonight.
Ah,
Of course, yes, and of course, with the first time with Miriam, Can you talk a little, like, do those types of relationships help you as an artist? I mean, I can't speak for how much you know each individual person, but just being around them and being in their space and touring with them.
Sure. I mean, I really look at every opportunity to share a stage with whomever as a chance to kind of just take in their energy, learn from them, and certainly with people like the ones you just mentioned, especially Howard Jones and Judy Collins. I'm so very grateful that those opportunities have resulted in friendships with them. That is not always the case, and sometimes I'm sure Miriam would agree.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, hit it and quit it. You know, they don't even like,
and they just keep moving,
they're like packing up. They don't even know your name. They're like, good luck. You sounded great, and you never see them again.
Opened for you.
Yeah. But you know, the range of it is what keeps it interesting.
Yeah.
I think it's probably analogous to relationships, maybe. Some of them last, some of them don't, and the ones that do become quite precious.
Yeah, I found definitely during COVID, the ones that have lasted are the ones that you're like, yeah, that's the ones I could count on. And some of the other ones you're like, I could see that being a little bit shakier before this all began. For relationship
Filtered out a few things.
How about you, Miriam? Who have you really enjoyed sharing a stage with?
I think recently I've been thinking a lot about Mark Lanigan, who just died, and I felt so sad just because I opened for him in Auckland, New Zealand, and he was a monster. He was amazing, and it taught me a lot about like performance and mana, which is Māori for respect, and dignity. So he held his ground so much. Everything off him emanated, just a real true artist. And so I was lucky enough to do that with him. He's a quiet dude, but man, it was a highlight for me. So yeah, it was sad. I was so sad to hear that he'd passed away.
Yeah, anytime you hear, and of course with Taylor Hawkins too, with the Foo Fighters drummer, it's just recently, it's just like,
jeez.
He's 50.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean,
we will seize the day today, won't we?
Yes,
And keep him in our
YOLO.
thoughts. And just leave it all out there tonight.
You got it.
It's like, we're not all that. We got it. Then could you talk then about coming from New Zealand? Because clearly we know that you are.
I'm from New Zealand, yeah. It's like, I think moving to America blew my mind so much that I kind of went into a bit of shock. And then moving from New York City from Queens to Pennsylvania was like moving to another country again. It was like, okay, I'm going to have to like figure out every other little colloquialism that I'm going to need to translate. And again, I have to repeat things 3 times. So it's before anyone can understand what I'm saying, but it's kind of fun,
This
one to that point, you even went 10 years between albums as a result of all that.
Yeah, the last album that I did release, I had actually finished quite a while ago. So it just was burning a hole in my pocket, and to finally get it out was good. But I mean, we've got kids, and so it's just like this huge turbulent moment of trying to settle in, find out what we are doing here, and just the lay of the land, and figure it all out, and then. It's crazy, man. I do not recommend shifting countries with kids. Unless
doing anything with kids in general.
You're just going to suffer. It's just like so hard. But beautiful. It's been worth it, I got to say.
And that's along the lines of my like big question for you that I thought was really interesting. You have a song called Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And I listened to it. It's fantastic. But then as somebody who's lived in Pennsylvania, right? Or somebody even from the county that I think you live in, the people from there, if they could hear a song like that, be like, what are you talking about? Pennsylvania's horrible, right? I lived here my whole life and I know it, but you're coming from somewhere else and you see it with fresh eyes and you go, wait, do you realize what a beautiful place you live in?
It's interesting.
Could you talk about that?
I mean, I'm doing a little pep talk to myself in that song because I have been a bit dark on the place, I got to admit. I love it. And I'm like, okay, what's good?
You're not the only one.
What's good about Pennsylvania? So here's me.
Get the counterpoint from Kevin. He's from here.
Kevin from Philly. I mean, it's interesting place, and I started looking into the history. I'm like, wait a minute, where's all the Indians? What happened to it? What the heck, man? Whose land am I standing on? And just that kind of like questioning, just throwing questions out there. Seeing people driving past with ugly flags. I'm just like, dude, what are you doing?
It's just such an interesting perception, like to see it through your eyes or to hear it. That perception from someone who's lived it is just a really interesting. It just it threw me for a loop for a while to
Yeah.
Is
listen
Keith
to.
Yeah.
Haring in your song?
No, but he really should be.
We can write
We're
it
gonna-
down.
right, yeah, we need a
His
new-
vibe
new
is in
chorus.
my song. Yeah.
New verse.
Yeah, we can write Warhol Haring.
Just
verse.
name drop through the whole thing, eh?
It's really
Yeah.
cool. That's so fun, though, because that's why I love doing these interviews, because George is right. You listen to that song, and you're like, oh, this person loves Pennsylvania, but you were really almost
Well,
going for an
I do.
affirmation of,
I'm telling myself.
We were
all right.
figuring it
I'm
out.
telling
Yeah.
you that you like it too, and you. We all like this
yeah.
place,
and
right?
George is right, too.
We
Like,
do.
people from here, like, this place stinks, so they move to somewhere else in the United States, and then they're going, actually,
This place
Actually, not so
stinks.
bad.
I kind of deal with the opposite. Like, I go overseas and I'll get in a cab and they're like, oh, you're from New York. Is everybody carrying a gun there? Like, they're like, how do you live there? That must be just awful. And it's so fast paced. And do you ever relax? And like,
Never.
they make it seem like I live on Mars. And then I just sort of
So
take
funny.
the opportunity to let them know, like,
It's
from
actually
East
all right.
Village, it's pretty chill.
not so bad.
A lot of my friends are kind of hippies and like, it's
pretty safe.
It's similar
Yeah.
to London. Like, it's amazing the ideas that people have just from
Yeah.
Netflix.
Oh yeah. Googling, Dr. Google. It's the
or our
worst.
own news.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that paints
Right.
a bad picture
And not
globally.
that some of that isn't true, but you know.
Yeah, temperate though, isn't it? Isn't it?
Well, see, like the way that I look at New Zealand, I
Yeah.
think that it's all just all those beautiful rolling
Lord of the
hills
Rings.
out into the
Right, yeah.
Totally not like that.
Xena, warrior princess.
Oh yeah, I know her.
Xena.
I know her. Yeah, I mean it
Know
is.
her?
I do.
Wait, you know her?
Amazing. Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
She's a
yeah,
cabaret
she's-
singer, right?
Yeah, she is. She's cool.
Is that like
She's cool. I
you
actually
ever?
meet her in Hollywood though.
Oh my goodness.
Well, is that like the
cheesy.
joke? Like if you know someone who goes to Penn State, right? You're like, oh, well, do you know so and so? There's like 18,000 kids that go to school.
that's like-
So it's like with New Zealand.
New
It's like, oh,
Zealand.
do you know?
Oh, my cousin flew through there.
he
Did
li-
you see him? Yes, of course I did.
That's
No.
actually, and if you go to Ireland, it's really like that. Everybody does seem to know everybody.
Oh, sure,
Totally
to be
depends.
sure. Yeah.
I lost track of where I was.
Sorry.
I was talking about like actually.
Well, it's probably good,
things.
Rachel, maybe go into some of your backstory
Yes.
too, like, where you found music, inspired
Yeah.
to become a musician, that kind of stuff.
Sure. Well, it all goes back to my bat mitzvah.
Oh my God.
Okay.
They gave,
I like this. I'm in.
they gave me a 4-track. I didn't even know how to use it. I was very upset because really all I wanted was, I don't know, a gift certificate to the limited. But instead,
did it so well.
someone knew that I wrote songs. Uncle Mark from Atlanta.
Go Mark.
Thank you, Uncle
Thanks,
Mark.
Uncle Mark.
Seriously. And eventually I figured out how to use it and how to start bouncing tracks. Many, many, many bouncings of tracks. Till every demo I made kind of sounded like Kate Bush, but much
not a
less
bad
in
thing.
tune. And that was sort of the beginning of my self-education as a recording artist and a producer. And from there it was like 8 tracks and collaborating with people in high school who also recorded, and I was in an electronic music program in high school too. So even though I'm kind of folkified these days, my roots as a kid were really in synth pop, and then eventually I discovered artists like Ani DeFranco, Sean Colvin, and that kind of led me to this moment here at Godfrey Daniels.
And even in that,
Skipping a few
Nice
things.
segue, yeah.
you're a very DIY musician in that you have your own record label, you do your own art for the covers, right? All that, yeah.
Yes.
So you're like a Renaissance person when it comes to all
Well,
that.
I feel like that's kind of, I'm dime a dozen nowadays, now that everyone is
No
indie.
way.
Good job, everybody. But back in the day,
Well, you were a trendsetter. You showed everyone it was
I
possible.
guess so. A lot of people thought I was crazy many years ago to try to take all that on. But I'm grateful now that I did do that in my early years, because it did kind of generate a level of sheer persistence and an ability to turn a no into a yes that I rely on heavily to this day. So, I
You're
just
amazing.
I like to do things that seem daunting and impossible in the beginning, and then I derive a sick sense of satisfaction from being like, oh wow, that was really kind of tumultuous, but damn it, I'm still here.
Right.
So,
And then you get ready to do it again.
oh
You know,
yeah,
a couple months
part of the
later,
adrenaline
right.
rush.
Rinse, repeat.
That's right.
And Kevin, we don't want to forget about you, of course.
chocolate brown.
Well, no, tell it, like, how do you get involved? Like, what is kind of your backstory when it comes to anything at all? Just curious. You talked about a lot of your improv stuff.
Is there any?
Well, No,
You could make up anything you want.
Yeah, we don't know. I can't.
it all started in Iowa.
Tell us about Iowa.
No, I don't know. I got a 4-track in 11th grade, and
How about
the last thing I remember was a year.
that? Yeah.
I was kidnapped. I was put in the back of a
This is going
bus.
to be our very first gig.
Yeah, this is our first.
Have you guys known each other for a long time?
Kevin.
I'm ready for it.
You'll be playing harmonica.
And guitar.
Yeah, and guitar.
And drums.
Oh,
But how do you guys meet through other musicians? Is that sort of like through the
Very
grapevine type thing?
romantic.
Yeah.
Let's say it together. 1, 2,
Oh, yeah.
3. Instagram.
Man.
Ah. Well, how else do you meet nowadays?
Craigslist.
oh,
No,
Saw him
it's the
live
last place.
streaming on Instagram.
Yeah, she found a live stream.
Yep.
Because I
Oh,
did
really?
a live stream.
And I was like,
boom.
you think you play enough instruments, dude? I think you need to play like 10 more.
Right, so she got me to play 10 more instruments.
But that still is somewhat amazing. You're watching a live stream. You're like, I really like what he's doing, and I
Yeah.
would like to collaborate with him. Let me
wasn't
send him a
even
message.
drunk.
And now
I mean, I was sober and
Wow.
you summoned some chutzpah.
Nice.
And you're like, I don't know, what did I actually write to you? I think it was something like, I found you by mistake,
Yeah.
you're really cool.
Right.
Hopefully we meet
We gotta do
someday.
something.
Yeah, sometime.
And then we almost got together several times just to, meet, and we didn't. But then you kept persisting. And then she sent me some recordings. You made a new record.
Yes.
Said, I
send
need some
files.
Hammond on that. So then she sent me the tracks. And what I sent her back was good enough that she
It was
kept going.
fantastic. Yeah. And we recently had our first studio session.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago at this wonderful studio in Connecticut called the Carriage House,
Yeah,
which
that
is
was
my
great.
favorite place on earth. And I was really happy that not only that was our first meeting, but also that it could be in such a special place to me. So it wasn't like,
That's neat.
can you meet me in the city on this corner of 8th and blah, blah, blah.
That's what we did last week.
Yeah. we did that.
I'll be in the park.
But I got to meet somewhere where they have chickens on the property.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, we got to record.
Very
It was
idyllic.
great. Yeah.
Wow.
Miriam, then the same question to you.
Yeah.
What was your genesis of
Oh,
music?
man. Well, I don't
Is it
want
a
to
4-track? 'Cause that would be 3 for 3.
Too. Ba, ba,
Yeah.
ba.
I guess the story is get your kid a 4-track if you would like
There
them
you
to.
go.
Yeah.
We
It's
can all
these
settle. They
days.
were all Tascams, right?
Yes.
Right?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
wait, no. I
Fostex, man,
had
Fostex.
And I love
Oh
the
my
Fostex
God.
little speakers.
There
the
we
little
go.
power speakers.
I couldn't afford
Cute.
those.
They came with
I
it.
didn't
I
have
don't
no
know.
bat mitzvah. I was like, yeah, I don't.
Tell me.
No,
4-track.
Well, yeah, I started singing. I bailed out of high school and joined a band, and that was it. I just started singing and traveled the world
Wow.
singing. And yeah, that was, I guess I was kind of, that was my
It sounds really
introduction.
easy. So you just
That's-
started singing.
Yeah,
Did
that's
you drop
And
out
it.
of
then
school?
they were just like, you should travel the world and do that.
There was no anxiety.
I grew up in a
Did
pretty
somebody- were you, like-
basic town in New Zealand. It was pretty rough, and so the moment I could get out, I was out. So my parents were very, very musical, but they weren't together. So anything I could to get out, I was done. So basically, join a band, travel the world, rock and roll.
Did we ask you
Yeah.
why you eventually came to this part of Pennsylvania? Or?
No, you didn't.
So
but-
can I?
You could ask that,
I'm
whether I'll
curious.
answer it is another
Okay.
question. No, no, actually, I mean, we were in Queens and we were like, oh man, this is starting to suck real bad. We were like, we couldn't get jobs. It was just like, trying to figure out what to do. Are we going to have to go back to New Zealand? And, I'm like I'm doing shows and stuff, but it's just not enough to kind of just make it worthwhile. And we ended up house sitting out in around Kutztown, and I drove through Kutztown, and I love Keith Haring so much. I grew up, just loving Keith Haring.
Keith
Just
Haring made you
"This
wanna move
dude,
there?"
man, he's so cool. I know. And then I kept seeing these sculptures. I'm like, hey, that looks like Keith Haring.
Did you know he was-
Next minute, I'm like, he grew up here.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know
That's
that.
awesome.
And then
Like,
next
that's-
thing I'm like,
You didn't know I was
Zillow,
obsessed
which
with
is
him. Like literally.
I really-
It was like my number one, not just
You guys are
artist,
like-
oh my God, you have to come
but
and
number
hang
one
out at
Same
their house.
wavelengths
Like,
So
completely.
cool.
anything in the world.
Hey, this dude's
my, like, absolute
insane. Just hearing, his life and, and like Kutztown, since we moved there, has become really open-minded and just an amazing little liberal town. And, and it's just great for kids.
It has the university, so it has that kind of...
It's cool, we're right in town. We see all the students. They like stumble past. drink water, But it's
Look, are you from New Zealand? Why are you here?
Here's about you. I'm like, no, that's not me.
It's the other New
Here's an
Zealand.
idea. You guys should collaborate on a cover of a Keith Haring song.
Wow.
Keith Haring didn't make music, but
He
we
made-
could channel him.
We could
channel him.
his art.
He's
could definitely.
You know what he may have? I just found out
Correct.
yesterday that Andy Warhol directed a play at La Mama, and that Harvey Fierstein auditioned for it purely because Andy Warhol was directing it. And before that, he was only a visual artist, Harvey Fierstein. So that prompted him to want to get into some drag and act. So for all we know, Keith Haring
God, I love
did make music.
Yeah,
We're going to find out.
I shall make
I'd
some
be surprised if he
inquiries.
never like dabbled in it.
Yeah.
Like, when you're around that many types of artists, I would imagine.
Dude's
Or a
so
song.
clever, man.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a demo.
Hey, he might have had a Fostex 4-track.
I bet
You
he-
never know.
Or that's why he didn't make music, is because he didn't get one.
Yeah.
There we go.
So
We were the
should've
lucky
gave him a
ones.
4-track.
Aw,
That is
R.I.P.
really, honestly, though, that's really amazing.
Yeah.
That you, and then the fact that you guys are both, obviously, Keith Haring's a very famous and well-beloved artist, but
Yeah.
still, just to the affinity that you guys have.
What did I give you as a gift at the end of rehearsal the other
got
day?
that the other
Keith
day.
Haring pin.
We should go to the Allentown Art Museum has a gift shop, and they have. I know that they have a bunch of Keith Haring things there that are licensed
Might be
appropriately.
hidden here later.
I know. I'm pretty sure that they're with the blessing of the family. I think.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, the family's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
They're still around town, and it's so cool.
Pennsylvania's not so bad, guys. Come on.
And
It's not so
they
bad.
They had dance
Not so
moms,
bad.
you know, for better or worse.
Who had
what?
the-
Dance Moms, the
Dance-
reality show about
Oh,
young
yeah, okay, I was like-
competitive
There's-
dance,
Oh, yeah.
There is
which
a
was
lot of
questionable,
dance moms
but
out here.
there were a lot of talented young teenage dancers. And
Sure.
I was a ballerina, so I appreciate the hard work and talent. So
Were you really?
many years ago, were you too?
Yeah, but probably not the
now you're making it up. I don't
You're my
believe
new
it.
best friend. But while you were talking, I saw you doing like so much. You're so expressive with your hands. And I'm like,
my hand.
I don't think she's Italian, but maybe she's a ballerina.
Hey, I'm half Croatian, so yeah.
All
You
right.
guys should have your own podcast.
I know. Yeah.
I would tune in to watch that.
Yeah.
So where, as we still have some time, but as we are moving, you guys are clearly performing tonight, and what are you working toward? Are you working on anything, or do you have anything that you would like to plug that is currently out that we can?
I've got a new album coming out sometime soon. Date TBD, and so that's a cool one. I made that in New York City and a little bit of Philly. So at Mason Jar Studios out in Brooklyn. Got some really cool people on there. So I'm really looking forward to releasing that. It's called Black Heart. And I'm kind of currently organising the next one. But yeah, that's it in a nutshell. Just
And they'll be playing some of
staggered
that
rollout
tonight? Like
yeah,
a
I'll be
preview of
playing.
it?
Yeah, I'll be playing a bunch of stuff. I mean, I'm doing acoustic and electric tonight, but it is solo. But the album is kind of more of a band. I've got a few cool members on there. Yeah.
And Rachel, I know you released recently an album that was like experimental to a degree, right? Because there was a lot of it was heavy on
Spoken word.
Spoken
Yes.
word. And is that are you continually looking to express yourself and kind of, hey, this is a new thing I might want to. I mean, you did
Oh,
say you're
yeah.
going to tackle new stuff. So what are you working on
That's
currently?
the
or-
best leading question ever, because if I'm not continually doing that, I should be. But I think the pandemic definitely kind of kicked my tuchus to have to do that, because I didn't have anybody else to play with. I was all by my lonesome in a little attic rental in upstate New York, just trying to stay safe and healthy, and taught myself, to record in the computer with a few key elements. And I called my studio ironing board studios, because I literally set up like 2 speakers, my laptop on an ironing board, and that was the extent of it. And in part, the spoken word thing was sort of an offshoot of me having planned to do an audiobook for my pending poetry book. And as I started recording it, I'm a more is more kind of person in general. It's very hard for me to just stop at the obvious place to stop. I was like, maybe I should put some music behind this. Maybe I should stack my spoken vocals. And then before I knew it, it had become a project much bigger than I anticipated, and I was sending files to folks like Kevin and my wonderful cellist collaborator, Dave Agar. And there are even a handful of co-writes for the music on the record, which is something I'd never done before. So, a lot of firsts on that. And it's been very interesting to see how people react to spoken word. For a larger project, I've always peppered a few pieces into my shows through the years, but this is my first concerted spoken word album, and it was a really interesting experience and adventure for me, for sure.
And is that what you're currently promoting, or do you have
I'm promoting that, and also a brand new maxi single. It's such a 90s word. It makes you want to go like, but.
Does it come in one of, it's like, what are those things called? The like pop rockers or whatever? They had like one song on them and you could know?
Well, this is kind of, yes, it's a pop rocker, but it's a folk popper, I think. It's basically 5 versions, 5 arrangements of the same song, Revelation Ground. Wow. And the reason I chose to do that was because I became very attached to the different versions as I went along, and I was learning how to engineer myself for the first time since a child with a 4-track. And so I had like the folky beginnings of it, which I thought worked, but then I wanted to add strings. That I did a version which was more of a band with drums and bass and electric guitar. And I just couldn't choose. ADD. So I just put them all.
So you're getting all of them.
That's pretty cool though, because
that is,
it gives people a chance to try out all those different styles of the same thing. It's almost like a performance art in and of itself.
I'll take it.
Well, listen, we want to be sensitive of time.
Yes.
There was one other topic I wanted to touch on.
Yes, please go ahead.
And this speaks to the album that came out before this last one.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, and I just think the only reason why I like touching on topics like this is because you never know what someone who's listening will get out of something like that.
Absolutely.
So you were writing an album when you were going through the recovery from endometrial cancer, correct?
That's right,
Yes.
and I have to say, I'm very impressed that you even pronounced that right, because
I
I didn't know
practiced
how
a
to
lot.
pronounce it when I was first diagnosed with it.
Yeah,
So.
I was practicing. But
Yes.
point is, I think people who may be going through this or having a loved one going through it, I
Yes.
think it would be an album that would help them. So
Totally.
to touch on that a little bit, whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah, and for those of your listeners who don't know what that is, it's a type of uterine cancer, and I was diagnosed in 2018. Just totally out of nowhere, and I say this because I also think it's important for women to hear it. Mine was quite progressed, so it was very serious, and I really do credit the doctors and nurses who helped me with absolutely saving my life, and in particular Planned Parenthood near me in New York City, because I went for just a routine test. I was seeing someone new and just trying to be safe, and they are the ones who did find the anomaly. And as you can imagine, it was quite a whirlwind and a roller coaster. But the upshot is I had wonderful care. I'm so, so, so grateful. And I did, end up easing back into writing music during my recovery from chemotherapy and radiation, et cetera. And music was really what lifted me out of a pretty deep, depression at the time.
Certainly.
And but it didn't take that long. I found that once I was physically well enough to resume music making, it was the absolute best medicine for me, and it continues to be in a lot of ways. So I know a lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah, and there are tracks on there that are uplifting and about gratitude and that kind of stuff. So it's not like it's kind of in that dark place.
No,
it's in there too, but along with all the other emotions.
Yeah, and I remember the first day that I walked into the studio to record that album with my band around me, and just having that love and support. And I consider, as I'm sure you do, Miriam, my bandmates to be some of my dearest friends in the world. And everybody was just so excited to be there and so happy and encouraging. And we didn't talk about what it meant to me in that way, but it was in the air, and I think that comes across to an extent.
It certainly does in the music, and again, whether you're going through that or not, it's a great listen. But in case you are and you need something to help you, I think it's a great album to listen to.
Oh, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we are going to listen to some music, right?
Yeah, I turned my mic down. Okay, I can't hear myself.
So you're each going to play a song.
Do you want? You can like rock paper scissors for it. I mean,
first.
And I'll bow out of the camera. So.
Well, we'll just
Can I
hang.
bow out too? Shall we?
Should we all?
So we will just
let's give them the
exit
stage.
stage left.
Is this okay? How
This is all
I am?
okay. I'm just gonna point
Got
on the
enough
mic.
elbow room there?
It's like we're getting all the sound.
Is this what kind of mic is this? Is it a directional omni?
Somewhat. It's not like straight on. It's kind of
Because
like
you could even like sort of.
this is good.
All right. This is a quiet little song, so we'll see how we go. And you need me to do a little intro for this?
No, I'm good. I'm good. You go ahead.
You know what? I gotta take off the gloves.
fine.
I'm gonna hit that
And
chorus. It's not gonna sound good.
And you can intro the song if you want.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you would like to introduce it.
So this is called Sleep When I'm Tired, which is something I highly recommend everybody do. I'm gonna sleep when I'm tired. I'm gonna sleep when I'm tired. I'm gonna sleep when I'm tired. But I'm tired all the livelong day. I'm gonna love when I'm lost. I don't care what it costs. I'm gonna love when I'm lost. debut live.
First time ever.
Was it? Was
Yeah.
it really?
First time
Yeah, we
ever.
never played together before that.
What?
Right there. Yeah.
And if I heard
Nice
correctly, Miriam might be playing a new song. What? So yeah, we're lucky tonight. That was fantastic. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much. Hooray.
So same thing, Miriam. You can introduce it. You have like 7 mics
Yeah.
here, so we'll make.
I think I need one more.
You there? You go.
Yeah.
It's like surround sound. I'm gonna
Just one.
I
Is
guess
this
I
thing
could've pulled
working?
her over.
We're gonna yell questions to you that you're
Yeah,
gonna have to
sure.
answer quickly. Okay, it's all you.
Thank you. Okay, this is a song off the new album, and it's about my uncle. Also an A minor, much like Rachel's lovely song just there. So A minor is the saddest of all chords. My aunt was an air hostess in a big, terrible plane crash, and on Mount Erebus, and her husband. This is the story of his how he coped or didn't cope, and the last week of his life. So it's called Roll Off. First he gave away the clothes she wore. He couldn't bear to see them anymore. 'Cause she's not gonna wear them one more time. Farewell. Good night. He placed her jewels in the hands of other girls. They never look as good under the pearls. He threw out everything from her life. Farewell, good night. I said I'd stand beside you. You said you'd stand beside me too. Now I'm lost and I've lost you in the shadow of your wings, of your wings. He donned his suit from the day she took his name, and within his car before he slipped away, he said, my love is dead, my one delight. Farewell, good night. Thanks.
Let's all come back
Yeah.
to say that was fantastic. Thank you so much.
That was
Thanks.
amazing.
Oh, thank you. Right back
Wow.
at you.
Both were awesome.
Cheers.
Yes, thank
I was
you.
like literally. Ooh.
Goosebumps.
Wow. So
Oh, thank you.
honestly, thank you so much for the fact that it's the first time you guys played together and that wonderful. So, like, really, it's amazing for us to be able to. This is our first one as well. We've interviewed, but we just interviewing incoming artists. We interviewed, some of the founders of this place on stage here. But to be in the presence of you guys and to hear that is such amazing. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for
Thank
doing what
you,
do
man.
as well.
Yeah. I mean,
We're so stoked.
We
Yeah.
love taking the story behind the musician or the song or all of it and put it out there for people because it just enhances the overall experience. We seem to have a really good music listening audience here in the Lehigh Valley.
And we have this place.
And we have a place like Godfrey Daniels, and you obviously have things like Music Fest that go on. So there's such a love of music here that George and I were like, well, maybe we should tell these stories or give people a platform
Such a
to
good
tell
idea.
that story.
Yeah.
So that's what this is about.
And for
awesome.
anybody listening, all their information from Miriam and Rachel is in the show notes. You can find their website, Spotify, all that stuff. And I'm going to put these songs on YouTube if that's okay.
Yeah.
So I can get the jump start and get all the views. No, honestly, that's fantastic. I'm so glad we're recording it. So good luck tonight. Good luck with everything. I hope if you guys come back and we will get a chance to talk to you again. And you guys should go on tour.
Hanging out with Kate.
It seems to be a pretty good match. So
Certainly.
You guys were like, BFFs now. I'm so glad that we brought it
need to
together.
collaborate on something.
like,
sure.
oh my God, your place.
I know. I'm just like,
Let's hang out.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Thanks for
Phil,
having us.
always a pleasure. Kevin, thank you. He's in the back.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Lehigh Valley with Love podcast. And we'll talk to you soon.
we love you, Lehigh Valley.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you again to Miriam Clancy and Rachael Sage. That was a wonderful interview and made even more fantastic that they each performed individually. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you to Godfrey Daniels for allowing us to use that space. We're going to do that again a couple times this summer, we hope. Thank you to our sponsors, Made Possible in Lehigh Valley. Visit LehighValleyMadePossible.com to learn more about why you should live here, work here, play here. ArtsQuest, visit artsquest.org for more information what's going on with them. Molly's Irish Grille and Sports Pub in South Bethlehem, mollysbethlehem.com. If you're going to any of these shows, you want to go to Molly's. And of course, Michael Bernadyn with Remax Realty. Find Mike to find your new home. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.